can see that barn is really popping out now, right?
Yep.
Coming back over on this side of the tree, and I'm darkening up the background a little bit. So this will help make the tree look lighter. The background's darker. I don't want to go, I want to keep my background in the halftone range. I don't want it to become too dark. Because if it becomes too dark, it doesn't look like it's a distance, it looks up close. So this gives it kind of an atmospheric look. Don't want to go too dark in there. And the reason why is because that underside of that limb is going to be black. It's going to be real dark. So, all right. So I'm going to let that dry for a minute. I'm going to come around and take a look at what you guys got, and then next step. Anybody need help real quick?
I do.
Feeling good? Where you at?
All right.
I'm feeling good and needing
This is
help.
what
Two
I
different
did in
things.
class.
Okay. So one of the things that I'll point out is you're on the right track. The big issue is you're
Too thick.
they're too flat. So you've seen how I spend a lot of time layering
Yes.
and spend a lot of time. I don't want everything looking really flat. I need there to be some
Variations.
variations in there.
variations.
Yeah.
All right. So I did the same thing there then.
So this is dry brush, which is
Yes.
very different than what I was doing up there.
Right. I
'Cause
was
every-
trying to figure out how to make it look more layered.
Right, and you're on the right track, but I would recommend staying away from dry brush. It's gonna make it look too. It's gonna pull everything forward because it's gonna look very detailed.
Okay.
Okay, so be careful about that. We don't want to do that.
All right.
I would soften that up a little bit, maybe
I can do that.
I have questions too.
shoot.
So on this one, I started off being happy with this, but now I'm very unhappy with it.
Why?
And I don't know
Do you
whether
want to
it's
show
the
me?
color. Do you
So
think it's
what I
too
think you
light?
need to do.
Or-
So yes, it's too light. So you need to put some grays and some blues in here.
Oh,
And you need to make it a little bit more of like a wall background, because right now it's hard for me to tell if I'm looking at the sky here
Right.
or if I'm looking at trees.
okay, so other colors,
I would
not
go in,
more
yeah.
rust, because
No.
I was thinking more rust, but you think no, like.
I would go in with some, like, I would use some burnt sienna, umbers, some blues, some
Wow.
reds.
Ah,
Well, that's kind of what I missed because I wasn't here last week, so I had to kind of watch. So you started. These are all. I mean, this is like ultramarine, right?
Yes.
And then you did some burnt sienna, but you did. Did you lay this wash down first and then come back and do this?
So what I did was I did the sky and the tree background at the same time, and I let them blend together so that there was some soft edges in there.
Right.
And then I did some negative painting around the tree to preserve, because the tree is in spots
Mm-hmm.
whiter than the background. And so I want it
right
to
here,
stand out.
Sure, yeah. But like right in here,
Mm-hmm.
that's. Did you let things dry or things were wet when you? Because that's negative painting right in there.
Some of it, so it was layered. So the first time I went through, there's like 3 layers there.
Okay.
So the first time I went through was, very, very half-tone-ish, and then I painted over it twice, and I didn't do a full cover. Like, I am, each time I go back into it, I'm modeling it so that there's some darks and some lights, and it looks more like there's some separation between the trees back there.
Okay.
So Terry,
Mm-hmm.
when you went out last, you did the sky, you kept your beads
I
and,
did.
and you still managed to.
Yeah, it was kind of tricky. It's a challenge to do all that negative painting. I was going to show you guys today. I brought my tape, and I brought my X-Acto knife, and I was going to show you how you can tape off or mask out something to where you need a nice, soft, intricate background, but you want to preserve the whites so that you don't have to do all this negative painting and navigate everything. So you can do that with this right here, with masking tape and a knife. I'm going to show you on a different piece of paper, because I'm a little too far along on that painting to demo that. But we'll get a different piece of paper out here, and I'll show you something real fast. And this can be very intricate. A lot of students in the class have seen me do this before. So one of the things I do is if I want to tape something off, there goes my knife. I can tape right over the top of it. I do cover, in layers. I'll go over so that when I paint, the water will flow over the top of the tape. It doesn't flow underneath it. So I could do this on very small areas, like if I want to preserve the white of a guardrail, like I want a highlight on a fence, or I want a highlight on a house, or anything. Could be berries, could be anything, right? I gotta crawl in here and get the knife. Oh. Okay. So it takes a little getting used to. First time everybody does this, they feel like, oh, I'm gonna cut through all my paper, and some do, but I'll be honest, I've been teaching this method for a long time, and most people can get a feel for it pretty quick. It's harder to cut through this watercolor paper than you think, right? So let's say, for example, I've got some kind of circle, or I want to cut out an irregular shape, and I want to preserve that white. The thing I like about masking tape to do this kind of thing is the edge that you get out of it. Because if you did this with like masking fluid, the edge is really, really harsh. And then you got to go back in with the scrub brush and clean it up, and it can be very difficult. So several people in here have seen me do this around people, around pets and dogs and cats and houses, and so this works with anything. So if I have to mask something off, most of the time, this is how I prefer to do it. So I'm just doing a little squiggly thing, just to show you that it can be very intricate. All right, so let's say that's going to be my white areas that I want to preserve, and I want to do kind of an intricate background. So I can come in here now that that's all taped out. And the reason why I use masking tape is because if I had a drawing on this paper, and I'll do another one because I didn't show you that part. Let's say, for example, I have a tree over here, and this tree is, I'm not going to say, and I want to preserve this tree. Just like I've got the current one I'm working on. I can take this off. And what I like about the masking tape is you can see the drawing right through it. So I could have done this with this tree in this barn in this painting, and it probably would have saved me a lot of work had I taken 5 minutes to tape it off and then cut it out. And then I don't have to worry about doing all this negative painting. So I can come in here now. And then again, this is just an example. I'm not trying to be perfect. So this is not my personal discovery. I've learned this from several other artists, but the first one I ever saw do it was an artist named John Salmon, and he is a fantastic watercolor artist who does some really intricate work, and this was very enlightening when I saw him do this the first time. I was like, wow.
I've never seen this before. Ever, never. It's fascinating.
So you're gonna get
Yeah,
something new today.
I am.
That's great. That's why I get paid the big bucks.
I know.
That's why I get paid the big bucks.
Yeah.
But this is a method I would highly encourage you to practice. The first few times you do it, people feel they're very concerned about cutting through the paper, which I understand. It takes a little getting used to. But you can see I was able to mask that off pretty fast. Now, if I want to be really intricate and detailed, I have a couple of paintings where I went crazy and did grass and all these blades of grass. I was crazy. Took me forever. I don't recommend it. But let's say now I want to do a really loose, very expressive background. Watch this. I can come in here and I can go.
What is the brush you're using?
This is just a mop brush. It's a silver black velvet mop. I really like this brush. It's a nice brush.
Does it keep the point?
It's not really made for points.
Yeah.
It's this is made for delivering a lot of water fast. But what I wanted you to kind of get the idea of is I can do a very wet, very expressive, very, I can do whatever I want. I could do drips, I could get very, very wet with it if I really want to. Which I kind of
Does
like.
it sometimes sneak underneath your tape if you don't?
If
lay
you
it
don't
down
put the
really
tape
well?
down really well, if you don't press it down really well, it can. It can definitely do, and you may not like if it lifts, you may not like the results. But now I can start pouring and tilting and getting some nice patterns in there, something different, just for fun. Now, I'm gonna set this off to the side. We'll let it dry. We'll come back and we'll mess with it a little bit later. I want you to see what that looks like when it's done. But that is an option when you're trying to do things like that, where it's a very intricate background. Now, I mean, since I had done this painting before, I kind of already mapped out. I know where the dark areas and light areas are. I know what I can get away with covering, what I can't get away with covering, those kind of things. So I wasn't too worried about doing the negative painting and painting around some of those branches. But again, that could be problematic. All right. So anybody else?
That one,
What do you want?
just general progress. Yeah,
I
I
think
just
it's
started the tree.
I think you are nailing the halftones. I think your barn obviously needs a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I haven't done all the shade, the shadow.
Right, I think it's looking great. It's gonna look really good. It's a very different approach with the trees not so tall.
Yeah.
Looks good. I think it's gonna be nice. Your sky becomes a lot more relevant,
Right.
Looks good. Who else? What do you think?
I want to know about the shadows.
Oh, look at her barn. I want to show you all her barn.
It's beautiful.
I'm gonna steal this from show everybody your barn.
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
It's a great
Beautiful.
barn.
Looks like a ski resort.
It's really nice.
With the
I'm gonna ski
yeah,
resort.
with the white with the tree.
So I'm gonna start on the darks of the tree, and this is gonna help make this thing pop. So I've got my rigger brush, and how many of y'all Who can tell me what?
Rigger brush.
Who can tell me what a rigger brush is for?
Long
Big
lines.
Yeah,
Lining
nice
your
long
paint.
lines, holds a lot of paint. So it's very different than if you just took like a number 2 or number 3 brush and started doing this. Because if you did a number 2, number 3 brush, it might be fine, and it might enable you to do some really thin lines. But you're gonna run out of paint, you're gonna run out of water in your brush very fast, and you'll end up having to reload it and reload it and reload it, and it'll drive you nuts.
Story of my life. I need
So-
to take out one of those.
So having
Is this one?
having a rigger can save you a lot of time and a lot of work. So one of the things when I'm doing, you know, the enemy here is going to be being too tight and too predictable, right? So I'm gonna hold my brush back a little bit further on the handle, and I'm gonna try and be a little bit more expressive. Now, the issue with limbs on a tree is trees actually do have an architecture to them. They're not just completely random. You know, the whole point of a tree is to get its leaves out to sunlight. So in order to do that, you know, optimally, it wants every branch to get its leaves to the most sunlight possible. Which means branches usually aren't going to the same spot, and they're going to taper from furthest away, being the thinnest, to closest up being the thickest. So I usually try to start out further away and work my way back and to the tree, so that I get a nice thin to thick branch. Now, I can go the other way. I mean, that's just, I'm not telling you that you can't go, you know, from thick to thin. Like I could go from this side, like if I did this one here, I could go just like this. But all of a sudden, it gives that tree a much different character, right? When those darks start going in. So again, my bottom side here has some moss on it, and in shadow, that moss is really dark. So I'm just going through here and kind of being deliberate about applying these darks now.
So when you're doing that, do you worry if it creates a hard line, or you try not to? Because I
All of-
find when I do something like that and then I try not to make it hard, it like covers the whole, it's harder to maintain the light color.
All of these are hard lines. Nothing I'm doing right now is not a hard line.
Okay.
So I'm not too worried about, because these are these are all the darkest part of the tree, the darkest shadow on the tree. So it's gonna be some hard lines.
Okay.
I'm fine with that. Now, if I want to soften some of them up I can always go back in later and soften some of those lines up to get them to be a little less harsh, if I want to later.
And what color are you using? The combo of burnt sienna?
This is burnt sienna, ultramarine blue. I did augment with a little neutral tint. You could also come at this with, if you mix your red and greens together, you will get a very dark color that can be used as a shadow color. And as I come up here, now I'm gonna mix in a little bit more. Paper towel. Where's my paper towel?
Here you go. Here's some.
Okay. So, again, mainly what I'm going after, I should be going after are all these small limbs out here. And I can do the bigger limbs with a bigger brush. But in this case, I'm gonna come through here. And it does make that tree start popping when those darks go in.
Me neither. So I better find who I am. And this thing gets seen every day, so I finally took my
Sometimes some of these start getting a little too, they start fading out on me, so I go back and make them a little bit darker. The moss got a little crazy right here, so just throwing in some more color.
Well, I can see the kids toilet. Yeah. This is new.
Yeah, they changed, yeah, it's leather.
That is really cool.
Isn't that?
Also, you put
So are we having fun?
Yeah.
Good. Oh, we're really quiet today.
Trying to keep up.
Actually painting, yeah.
Great job.
That's good to hear. I usually tell myself that too. This is going so.
Well, I'm not even painting, I'm just watching to learn, but I'm like, I'm great at learning.
I can't believe how that one brush has made that tree the most the best image to bring it to the foreground. I mean, it's just
Well,
amazing to me.
kind of keep in mind, go back to the shapes, the big shapes here is, I am still following the same rules for my shadows and my shapes by making cylinders, essentially is what I'm doing. This is that one shadow that I really like on this tree, because it comes down from this limb and it goes across and back down like that. I think it's so cool. There's another one that comes down this way. Comes down over here, and then hits the ground. I can walk around and see how you guys are doing. Anybody have any questions?
Too busy.
There's still a lot to do. Well, when does this class end? How many more classes do we have? The last
I think this is our third class, so we should have
Three
three
more?
more.
No, this is our fourth. We got
Is it?
2 more.
Two more. Bummer. I've enjoyed this class. My next class here is a fundamentals class. I'll be teaching watercolor fundamentals.
Is that on the website yet?
It's not published out yet. It will be soon. But I'll be sharing a whole lot of my brush techniques and exercises for getting better with your rendering and different ways of practicing and understanding how to use your brush better.
So it's not technically a beginner's class.
Yeah, it's a beginner's class because I'm it's all fundamentals. It's not like I'm not introducing any advanced. It's going to be
Stuff that we should know.
yeah
already.
stuff. If you want to start watercolor, yeah, you should know it.
Nothing like
But-
working backwards.
I call it fundamentals and not like beginner watercolor because a lot of people, even if you've been painting for a while, it's good to go back and kind of brush up on some of those skills sometimes. That's why I do a whole lot of exercises and playing and, to keep those skill sets up. Because you can lose them. You can, and someday, like, you'll be painting along and be like, why isn't this coming out? And then it'll be like, oh, because I wasn't doing the basic thing I should have been doing. Sometimes it's fun. It's very cathartic to get lost in these little details and start, but you don't want to let it go too much because you definitely want to maintain control over what you're doing, or you'll end up doing too much.
I'm kind of lost in my branches now.
It's easy to do.
My branches are not looking round, they're all looking flat. They're so skinny, they're hard to get.
So one of the things you can do with branches is, like, after I'm done with this, I'll go in with a scrub brush and I'll start, like, there's a lot of lines in here
Pulling
where
out
the
the
shadow's
lines.
too harsh.
Yeah.
And I'll soften it up a little bit, and that will help bring it back to where it needs to be.
I think I put an extra branch in.
I have extra branches too.
It's like,
It's like they don't go exactly like what it says.
we'll make those into back